Serious. From personal experience, what are the signs your partner is cheating? I got mailed a wedding invitation by his fiancée of 4 years that I had thought was just a good friend of his. That was not only a clear-cut sign he was cheating, but that I was the other woman and in second place. Being edgy or secretive about their phone calls. Keeping their phone on silent. Sudden increase in grooming, yet your new clothes, may be irrelevant for certain personalities. Being overly irritable with you for no reason. Lack of interest in sex with you. A general feeling of becoming more distant. Being out of the house more often than normal. Going through a lot of money and not telling you where it's going. Accusing you of cheating. Going outside for phone calls and hanging up. If you follow Mott, being very overprotective about who you hang out with. Finding them snooping through all your stuff. In my defense, I was in my early 20s, only my second long-term relationship. I should have seen these as giant red flags, but yeah, lesson learned. Edit. Yep, I do know this isn't 100% a solid test for fidelity. Yep, you could point out any one of these signs, and by itself it doesn't mean cheating. Yes, some people are just private people. It's more important if these things listed are changes from the norm. This is just what I noticed from personal experience. The more boxes get ticked, the more concerned I would be personally. My dad wasn't my partner, but I busted him for cheating on my mother when I suspected that him talking on the phone in the driveway for a half hour each night after she went to bed was not business related. I don't even know if I should have done that. The marriage ended. One of the things I'm not seeing listed here, and a lot of these are pretty good, is if you haven't changed your behavior at all, but suddenly they are paranoid accusing about you cheating. One of the things I'm not seeing listed here, and a lot of these are pretty good, is if you haven't changed your behavior at all, but suddenly they are paranoid accusing about you cheating. Every relationship I had that ended because I found out they were cheating had one common denominator. They frequently accused me of cheating, like all the time. I have never cheated. For example, my last ex accused me of making plans to go cheat on them with an actor from TV. I didn't even know the actor's real name, I just thought the actor was cute. Cue huge fight. Find out later they've been cheating on me with just a friend, don't worry. 5 years later, the ridiculousness of it still strikes me from time to time. All these out-of-character signs occurring at the same time was what alerted me to his cheating. Suddenly starts having a passcode on his phone and gets agitated if you accidentally see his screen whilst he's using his phone. Says he's coming home at a certain time, then shows up 9 hours later with no explanation and gets agitated when asked. Starts gaslighting, manipulating, screaming, compulsive lying, and verbally abusing on a daily basis. Starts going to the gym daily even after a 12-hour work shift that involves hard labor. Starts being distant and refusing to communicate, screams at you that he doesn't want to talk at all, not even about the weather. All his friends, none who know me personally, start hating me out of nowhere, speaking ill of me to my face and behind my back, and wishing that I die. Starts to make future plans including overseas trips that don't involve me. Starts becoming obsessed with pornography despite being strictly religious all his life. Starts eyeing off other women in public in front of me. Starts comparing me to other women and threatening me with other women. Starts getting physically abusive upon seeing me upset about his above actions. Turns out, it was revealed that he was on dating sites and was planning to send me over 700 kilometers away interstate against my will and pursue a relationship with another woman in his city and send me money weekly and visit me on weekends to keep up the facade of a marriage. Yes, this man was my husband. Now, ex, advice to everyone out there. You can never change someone who sees no wrong in their actions. How someone treats you is a reflection of who they are. He stopped pressuring me for sex. I was young and naive and didn't feel ready. Turns out he wasn't going to wait. Long periods of time in which you cannot account for their whereabouts. And when they do tell you where they have been, they tell you a detailed story in which they progressively fill in the details because it is a lie. Sad. Lying about where they are. I think in my life I am 5 to 1 in this category. 6 times in my life a SO has lied about where they were. 5 times they were cheating. The other time, they were picking out a Valentine's gift for me. When my ex-husband cheated on me, he just seemed to work a lot more, and during periods where it was phone online, only he wouldn't let me say no to sex. It was no longer an option. Also, everything I did was wrong or awful or stupid, and I was the crazy, lazy bitch. He never did wrong. Although that could have been more down to his personality than the cheating. Fearful of any lasting evidence of the relationship. I was with someone for many years and was blissfully unaware she had been cheating on me for an extended time. A number of months before she left me for one of her other guys, she stopped wanting to take pictures of us together. This was in the days of film cameras, and I didn't pick up on this sudden change in behavior because I hate having my picture taken and thought she was finally respecting my opinion, as well as saving a lot of money. Despite that, I suggested we get a portrait done of us together, as I was planning on asking her to marry me, and thought it would be nice to have. I still clearly remember her telling me she thought it wasn't a good idea because, what if we ever split up? It blew my mind, but I had some horrible stuff going on in my life that was distracting me. After she broke up with me, she told any mutual acquaintances that we'd been together for only a year, not almost 6 as we really had been, and pointed to a lack of pictures as proof I was a crazy ex obsessed with her. It never occurred to her that people who knew us all those years would be willing to say that we had been together for years, or that I still had pictures from our years together. Also, she started asking me if I would date this person or that person, and letting me know if she approved of the choices. Apparently, she planned to control my dating life after she dumped me, but that's a tale for another thread. Signs I knew was she was being a little more distant. We had this among connection, and about the time she went to a friend's birthday party was about the same time she started being distant. I chopped it up to being just past the honeymoon phase. Another was she suddenly had a lot of little events come up. She was usually a stay-at-home play games type of person that suddenly wanted to go out for a bit with friends or had to visit family, which she never did so subtly in changes of plans. Lastly was a little scummy, but being suspicious will do that to a person. She will add 2-3 guys every day on Facebook around her area. And one in pedicure. I didn't care for it, seemed like her type, so to speak. And my gut was right because a few days later I got a call from her father telling me she went out on a date with this guy who was a city over and she was dressed to impress. Broke my heart, but I have profound respect for that man. Fun topic. From my intuition and experience, less intimacy compliments you way less or way more due to guilt, cover-up, but either way, much less interested in everything about you. Vague or way too detailed answers to questions like, where have you been? Changes the style of text, use of words, taste in clothes and music. Always on the phone. Leaves the stuff like some jewelry that you gave them that they used to wear 24/7 in the house. This is where I started suspecting my ex-BIL cheating on my assisee. In my previous relationship, I was passing her phone to her and it was unlocked and her messenger app was open. I glanced at the screen but noticed a message from a guy that had XX at the end. She would barely send X's to me, never mind anyone else. So I immediately went, wait a second. She got annoyed at me, without me having to say what I was referring to, she knew, saying, if you really think I'm cheating, just leave, whilst going into the bathroom. Personal experience. If someone is extremely possessive or keeps bringing up what would happen if their partner cheated or just seems overly bent out of shape about cheating, they're probably a cheater. This couple I know, sweetest girl I've ever met, extremely nice, very loyal. She was honestly head over heels for her husband even after years of marriage. It was genuinely one of those things that made me want a relationship. I wanted someone to love me that much. The guy would always say things like, if you cheated on me, it would destroy me. Harmless at first. But he said it weakly. He knew her phone password and convinced her that he was always, at any time, allowed to look at her phone, to flip through her texts and pictures. If she ever changed her password to anything, he had to know immediately. Facebook, emails, phones. History must never be cleaned on the computer, things like that. When she was talking with me to plan his surprise party, we were using code words and she was too suspicious about it, and he went through our messages thinking we were fooling around behind his back. He made her cut contact with me to prove that we weren't. I wasn't allowed to talk to her, visit, call, text, email, or even use Facebook. I let it go because, well, the only option was to let it go or get mad and make things worse. 4 months later, she called me. He told her he lost his phone and wanted to get a new one, so he got a new phone, new number, new plan. Said he'd cancel the other one. He even told her, as show of trust, he would let her root through his phone whenever she wanted as well. His new phone, of course. She was cleaning one day and found his old phone. She was about to bring it to him and show him, but her alarms went off, so she went through it first. Password protected. But same password for his new phone. She got in. Yup, he'd been cheating for a while, absolutely destroyed her. So, if they are so incredibly defensive about cheating, they themselves might be guilty of it and are thinking, if I cheated, my partner might cheat. Drip feeding, i.e., when something originally innocuous gradually turns out to be less and less so. I was out with the girls, I was out with a mixed group. Actually, it was Dave and his mates. Actually, it was just Dave. Actually, we weren't out, we were at his... Nothing happened. Okay, we kissed. Okay, we slept together, but it was just once. Okay, I've been fucking him for a year. Obviously, it's obvious by the end, but the lesson is that by the second drip, you can tell something is up, and it's going to turn out much worse. There are never only 2 drips. When they say you don't have to worry about that guy, girls start worrying. Her phone was in her hand constantly. I once stood up and walked past her to see what she was typing. It was this. Looks nice, like you. They had started to hang out a lot, going for long dog walks, going to the opera, going for dinner. She also started to be vile towards me and pick arguments out of nowhere. She had been saying things like, "Don't you think T is hot? What would you do if we had an affair?" She had stopped showing any interest in me whatsoever. She had cheated on her last girlfriend several times, and I have no doubt that she had cheated on me more than once during our time together. Yeah, lesson learned. I have cheated. I was married for 5 years and have learned so much since then. I ended up leaving a wonderful person for a new, wonderful person, and after much hurt, forgiveness, and growth, I am very blessed with an incredible family. Here are some signs. ISM male. Working late with vague or flippant explanation. Wouldn't your spouse want to be detailed if you probed? Note: I cheated with someone at work. Hiding or being very careful with my phone and laptop. Having a confidant that isn't you. Unusual or sudden disinterest in intimacy. Disinterest in long-term plans. Feel free to ask questions. You can tell by body language and tone. A real easy one is they come home and immediately hit the shower, but it's not hot, and they didn't hit the gym or done anything strenuous. The fact that you are asking this question is a good sign. For me, I could tell he was growing increasingly distant. He would tell me I wasn't putting the effort into our relationship, but when I tried to be more attentive and loving, he would withdraw. And then, one awesome night, I asked him if there was someone else. He had a panic attack which left him unable to breathe, and I and his uncle rushed him to the ER. For 2 weeks after, he would send me pictures of the toll the attack had taken on his eyes and skin. I felt like a monster. It turned out that I had just hit the nail on the head and unnerved him. The worst part is that his whole family knew and had been helping him hide it, because they thought I was an awful person due to some lies he had been feeding them. His uncle was paying for the secret cell phone. Everyone was encouraging him to leave me for her, not knowing I had been paying the majority of the household expenses and had been doing everything I could think of to make him happy. He also engaged in some horrible mind games, including disappearing with a gun to make me think he'd gone off to kill himself. There's more, but that is easily the most traumatizing of the lot. When I found out and asked why, he said I just didn't love him enough. They talk about that person a lot. They go to see them when they said they couldn't be out that night. They put that person over you. She's sitting around on her phone, and when you sit next to her, she immediately changes positions so you can't see her screen. From personal experience, she started getting weirdly jealous for no reason and began accusing me of cheating on her. It was so out of place, and after a few arguments with her, it was obvious to me what was happening. So I waited until everything was just normal and calm, and I sat her down and asked her how long she had been cheating on me. She tried to deny it one time, and I just told her to stop lying and try the truth. She started crying immediately. I just stayed calm and told her that we couldn't be together anymore, but there was no point in either of us getting angry and fighting. That was pretty much it. We broke up and she moved out. Blaming you for cheating. Blaming you for thinking about cheating, Giselle, being attracted to others. Frequent disengagement from familiar intimacy. Conspicuously withholding details about recent events. Less eye contact. Also new sex techniques. EW edit. Source: have cheated and been cheated on. Sudden, unexplained changes in 1. Phone usage. 2. Hygiene, grooming, and personal fitness. 3. Intimacy. 4. Spending habits. 5. General mood. It's the inexplicable nature of changes that's a real indication, though. All of these things could be impacted by something like someone starting a new job. It's when there's no apparent reason, or they're cagey about the reason, that it becomes suspect. I've noticed people who cheat tend to assume and get aggressive about the idea of cheating towards their SO. Their inner guilt starts to come out. My high school boyfriend never saved phone numbers into his phone. He claimed he was just too lazy. Turns out the unsaved numbers belong to his many side girls. I think a lot of these responses are subjective, but basically boil down to this. Be aware of uncharacteristic changes in their behavior. Has your partner had a lock on their phone since day one? Probably not something to worry about. Have they not had a password on their phone and all of a sudden, for seemingly no reason, they do? Probably something to worry about. From personal experience as the cheater, I have to disagree with some of these people. A sudden increase in sexual desire towards you. Having a new sexual partner makes you feel sexier and hornier. They might be getting it from someone else, but out of guilt and convenience, they'll likely be more sexual towards you as well, in ways they weren't before. Here's the red flag I had. Her parents were quite well off and always gave us the best Xmas gifts. One Xmas, she got the usual lavish stuff. I got barely a thing, and what I did get was really thoughtless. 2 days later, I discovered she was cheating with my best friend. Her parents knew. I had been dating a girl for 3 years, and we had just moved in together when she decided to cheat. We both drank way too much at the time, liked to drink a lot, and we would often go out or go to parties with mutual friends at her request. After about 3 months in our new place, I broke my foot, crashed racing motocross. I didn't want to go out and hobble around, and that's when I noticed changes in her behavior. Anyway, what I noticed was, she no longer wanted to spend time at home with me like we used to, watch TV together after work, play video games, etc. Started getting rides with a mutual male friend of ours, Matt, to parties, or to hang out with other PPL every day after work. Asked her, and said I was worried about Matt and her spending so much time together. She gave me the classic "we are just friends, you're being paranoid," etc. Since we used to go out together a lot, I rationalized it away. Began to constantly text way more than usual while around me, ignoring me when we were hanging out, and being very careful to always keep her phone out of my reach, where I can't read over her shoulder. Sex life went from 3 to 5 times a week to like once per month, and only when I begged her for it for hours. Once the sex if dropped off, I pretty much suspected she was cheating. Till then, I always found a way to rationalize her behavior, or blamed myself and my foot. So I was fed up with all my suspicions one night, and after she got home, way after she said she would be home, I pretended to be asleep in bed, while she proceeded to drunkenly pass the fuck out. So I went to her nightstand and looked for her phone, opened it, didn't have a password, and was treated to weeks of text logs between her and Matt. "When can I see you again? I love you, blah blah blah." So then I woke her up, confronted her with her phone. She broke down, saying I was the one she really wanted. Told her to GTFO of our room and sleep on the couch. We continued to live together for a few months until she decided to move in with her dad in a different state after not being able to get her own place. Anyway, that's my story. Thanks for reading, Internet Strangers. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe for more stories like these. And of course, we'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment below and share your experiences or opinions. See you in the next one.